If you're using this right now to fix your bad breath, you might not just be wasting your money, but you could also be making the problem worse. In fact, millions of people do this every morning, thinking that they're sterilizing their mouth, killing the bacteria that cause the bad breath. While completely unknown to them, they're actually creating a chemical drying cycle that's only going to make the problem worse. In my 10 years as a dentist, I've had loads of people sit in my chair saying, why have I got bad breath? People aren't telling me that I've got bad breath. What can I do to help fix it? They brush, they floss, and they think that they're doing everything right, except they're making this one fatal mistake. And it all starts with that intense burning feeling that you get after you use the mouthwash. And you might have been told that that means that it's working. It's not. That burn is the sensation of high concentration alcohol dehydrating your tissues. If you think of your mouth as kind of like a rainforest, then saliva is the natural rainfall that keeps everything cleansed and the acids neutralized and helps wash away debris. The mouthwash will kill a lot of bacteria in your mouth, and they're kind of like free floating bacteria, but there's other bacteria that's in heavy biofilm that's around your teeth or even slightly under the gum. And because that biofilm is quite thick, then the mouthwash can't actually penetrate deep enough to be able to kill those bacteria. So now we've got a situation where we've got all of the other bacteria in the mouth have been killed off from the alcohol, and we've got this perfect free breeding ground for these other bacteria now to move into, populate, and they will start to produce these sulfur compounds, which will result in the bad breath. It's almost like we've just built a perfect little factory for these bacteria to start to produce these sulfur compounds. And have you ever wondered why there are so many different products for bad breath? From sprays to gum to mints, all these different mouthwashes. Why is that? Because when people realize that their mouthwash isn't necessarily doing the work that they thought it would, they go for a different product. They go for a spray, they go for the chewing gum, they go for the mints. And you could end up spending hundreds over the course of a year trying to mask this scent. But if you're spraying what is essentially perfume, you're not really addressing the underlying issue. Those popular mints and the chewing gum will help mask any bad breath, and you'll get that few minutes of minty artificial flavor, but you're actually leaving behind the bacteria that cause the bad breath in the first place. And whenever they metabolize these compounds, they produce sulfur, and those sulfur compounds are actually what cause your bad breath. And after having consumed these sugars or these carbohydrates, after 20 minutes, your breath is back to the way that it was before. And now you might have found yourself in this commercial trap where you're now spending money on mouthwash. You're also trying to buy these mints and the chewing gum, and the underlying issue is not being fixed. So you're spending the same money again tomorrow, you're spending it again next week to try and fix this problem. So how do we actually break the cycle and try to cure this bad breath permanently? Well, it actually requires a few simple steps that cost almost nothing. And the first thing you have to do is physically remove that bacteria from your mouth that's causing these sulfur compounds. That means good brushing and flossing, because you need to physically disrupt that biofilm that your mouthwash is not able to remove. You need a dedicated tongue scraper, not just using a toothbrush on your tongue. That just kind of moves the bacteria around. If you take the tongue scraper, start at the back of your tongue, gentle pressure, and pull it forward, you'll see this thick white stuff that kind of forms on the metal. That is millions and millions of sulfur producing bacteria that you're getting rid of. It's also worth considering booking a dental checkup to see your dentist, because there may be underlying gum issues or maybe even a cavity that's starting to cause this smell as well. And if you have bacteria that's building up under your gum line, a toothbrush, a mouthwash, floss isn't going to be able to remove that biofilm. Secondly, we want to swap that alcohol mouthwash for something that's alcohol free. Ideally, if you can get one that contains chlorine dioxide, or even some zinc mouthwashes are very good. In some severe cases, I would even think about using a chlorhexidine mouthwash, an alcohol-free one that can really get rid of all of the bacteria, but it's important to only use that for 2 weeks at the maximum. It's important to use an alcohol-free mouthwash because that's going to prevent your tissues from being dehydrated, and it's still going to be able to remove those bacteria that produce the sulfur.